like a bee. Everything is going good. We dancing. We looking good. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, got hit with a jab. Infidelity. He done had a baby on me. But I'm going to hang in there. I'm going to hang on in there. Then he hit me with a combination. Woo! Lost my mouthpiece. But I'm all right. He just gave me a venereal disease. I'm still going to hang in there with him. Then all of a sudden, boom, 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 boom. I'm sticking and moving, trying to. Bobbing and weaving, trying to. All of a sudden, the relationship then came to an end. Stomach hurting, can't eat, hair flowing out, trying to recover. Call my girlfriend. They try to take me out. They in worse condition than I am. What am I going to do? How do you recover from something that you never even saw coming, or maybe you did see coming and you just didn't want to let it go? Thank you for joining us tonight. Tonight we are talking about another Love TKO. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here, and I look forward to everybody taking part in this conversation tonight. Tonight I'm so happy to we have Bobby Brewster. We have my daughter, Jasmine Moore. And we also have Elizabeth Carter Moses. So let's dig right in. Another Love TKO. Some words that ring so true in my life and many others' lives. Amen?
Amen.
So what is a TKO? It's a place to where in boxing terminology, it's a place to where it's something that you don't want to happen in the boxing ring. It's a place where you get knocked out, you lose all bearings, your mouthpiece goes one way, you to the floor, and the ref hits you with a 10 count. Sometimes that's what happens in relationships. Have you ever been hit with a 10 count where you got hit and didn't see it coming, or maybe you did see it coming? I know I've had my fair share. So what have been some of your experiences with TKOs?
Wow. How many did I have? Okay, so I had one in particular that took me for a whirl. It started off nice.
That's how they start.
And
did you feel like you was floating like a butterfly?
I was
like a bee?
floating. The kids were in sync. We were going to church. Everything was just fine and dandy. And then, I'm serious. It was literally, I fell to the floor. And it hurt me so bad because I'm like, are you serious? I had everything in line. Things were going right in my job. Like I said, we were going to church. The kids were loving the situation. We were all in sync, did all the family things, and boom, knocked out to the floor.
Did you lose your mouthpiece?
I was shivering. I was like, It was upsetting. I cried for a long time. I was so upset. I'm even nervous talking about it because it was just.
Was it just today?
No, it wasn't. Because when you think back at it, you think, what could you have prevented it? And I didn't see it coming. I really didn't. I thought everything was, this person pursued me. I didn't go looking for that person. That person said, oh, you're nice and you're different from all the other folks. So,
How many people have heard that before?
He just dragged me in. And I was like, oh, okay, so you're thinking everything's cool because everything's nice and copacetic in the beginning. And then out of the blue, just knocked out.
So we can honestly say that it doesn't necessarily have to be with someone that is horrible, and we get introduced with somebody and they just horrible from the start. Can you say yours was gradual? Was it a gradual process when you start seeing signs of?
It was gradual. It didn't come right at first. It was, it took a couple of weeks. It wasn't even over 6 months or a year. It hit me within a few weeks, and I was like, whoa.
Now, see, mine, on the other hand, was gradual. A lot of you know, I air my dirty laundry. I was actually engaged. Well, what I thought I was engaged, going to get married. And prior to that, the Lord had already been speaking to me about coming up out of that ungodly relationship. read the book. I was like, nah, I got this. And I used the excuse to the Lord, we can get married, so it's cool. And I remember the Lord kept speaking to me, and I kept, has anybody ever just closed their eyes and tried to drown out the sound of God? I have many a times where I was just closing my eyes like, go away, go away, go away. And eventually, that voice of God faded. It faded, and I had got the ring. Remember Christmas? Mom, remember Christmas? I had got the ring, and I was like, yeah, baby. I'm at church like, yep, got it. And then all of a sudden, it started off, I was up against the ropes. We started having some issues. I started having issues with the planning stages of the wedding. And then next thing I know, the rug came from underneath me, and he hit me with a two-piece. That mouthpiece went one way, neck went another way, and I was on the floor. And I remember that night as if it was yesterday. I remember being on the floor crying. And my oldest daughter was around 15 or 16 at the time. She had to literally come and pick me up off the floor. Can you imagine that? Me the mama, she the daughter, the roles reversed. I'm supposed to be nursing her from her, her first love at high school or whatever. And here she is picking me up off the floor. And not to say, I've been chain smoked about 2 packs of cigarettes because you try to chain smoke about 2 packs of cigarettes because you try to find something to try to, I would say, nurse the pain or whatever. But that has been my experience where I didn't see it coming. Or maybe I could say, in the beginning, the relationship seemed fine, but as we progressed, God was like, So that was my experience. So there's been times where I've been in situations where there was gradual, and then there was times where I was in a relationship with something crazy, where I was hit with a combination punch, where I done got in fights, Tina, got in fights with people from driving a certain person's car, thinking that I was in a relationship with him, he in a relationship with a whole bunch of other people, you know who it is, other people, and I'm in fights and things like that, and I done got hit with a couple of 2 pieces and jabs and things like that, where I tried to bob and weave, but sometimes that bobbing and weaving don't work. We think it worked, but it don't work. So mine was gradual. You had some gradual situations, y'all.
I think a lot of them are gradual. I think almost every relationship, majority is gradual, because in the beginning it's always not. It's always like big and just the sparks are there and it's just fun and it just seems like nothing can go wrong. It's always good at the beginning, and then once you start getting in that comfortable phase, then that's when things start, like little things start appearing, you start noticing things, or the time that y'all was spending together all the time starts to drift away and things like that.
Could it be that it was that way, or could it be that he might have been that way with someone else, and then you psyched yourself into believing that it ain't that way with you?
Yeah. I mean, it depends on the situation, it depends on the person, it depends on the relationship. A lot of people that are in relationships, females and males, they could make it seem all good and like everything is,
Gravy.
And they only want and they only want one thing from you, and then once they get it, it's
that.
pretty much.
And once they get it, things change. Okay.
Well, see, I want to make a comment though. And to Jazz's point, the gradualness and everything, and then you get hit with it. I remember in my situation, I hid it from my kids for a long time because I didn't want them to be in the mix of it. Hid it meaning that I didn't, I still protected them. It was more of, okay, so what do I do? Am I going to try to fix this? I started praying. I said, give me something, Lord, that I can do. Am I supposed to be here? And he gave me every indication that leave it now. That's all he kept saying is leave it now. Don't do anything else. So I waited for his sign to move out.
Now, you said you hid it from your children.
Yes.
There was a lot of things, I've been married before, there was a lot of things that I thought I was hiding from my kids. And they're adult life, they'd be like, Mom, remember when such happened. Ah, you know that. I thought y'all was asleep. We was asleep. Remember when such, and Jasmine will tell you, they will bring up stuff like, remember this, remember that, and they were so small, and you would think, because they're small or they're in the bed asleep, that they didn't hear that. You'd be surprised of what kids hear, what they see, and things like that. So, did you really?
Maybe I didn't. I mean, because after a while, the kids started seeing things, but I thought I was trying to hide it from them in the beginning. But after a while, when they got hit to what was going on, it was a total, dysfunctional. Everything went wrong. And I was like, okay, it's time to fix my house. This has got to move out of my house. So I start cleaning my house. I clean my house. Got to go.
So there's been times where I know that, I'm just going to say Kelly, because I know everybody else ain't, where I have actually asked God to bless the mess. You said you asked God to show you what you need to do. And that's a good thing, because a lot of times God, when we're in these situations, He is a present help when we seek Him to get better or to try to, figure out, am I supposed to be here or not? 9 out of 10, we know we ain't supposed to be here, but we do it anyway. But there's been times that I've asked Him to make it right. Am I by myself?
No.
Well, holla at me one time.
Look at it.
2 times. Right. I have done that, and I wonder, sometimes I'll be wondering, I'll be like, for real? You want me to continue? You want me to bless him doing all this stuff to you, and you sitting here crying? You want me to make things right with this? But is it that we really want him to bless it, or do we want him to fix the person?
I think when I stayed in those situations, I was just always praying that God would fix that person. And that would be the problem for me, that I would always stay, because I would think, I would always see the good in them. Even when I knew it wasn't no good for me, I would still see that good in them and would pray, God, please, I know you can change them. I can't, but I know
When
that
you
you
say
can.
the good, what you talking about? The potential that
The
you thought that they had?
yeah, the potential that I thought that they had.
Wonder why do we do that? Do we not trust God enough to say, I want God's best? Why do we take Mr. Man and be like, Mr. I gotta get up. Can I just be transparent? Oh, I don't care. Why do we say, God, I want you to take him, and I want you to do X, Y, and Z with him, and I want you to fix it just so.
Yes.
If we got the faith to ask God in this mess to do this, how come we can't have the faith to just say, Lord, I'm going to stand here and wait till you send the right person that you feel that should be with me, and that way we know that when he sends them, there ain't no tweaking.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. Right.
That's my infomercial.
But I think that because we think we're not perfect ourselves, why do we ask? We just ask.
I used to think I was perfect. It was all them. If they would just do this, if they would just quit cheating on me, if they would, it was always